presentation for team number 3. So we have this compiler where we have created our own language named DST, and for that we have started with the lexical phase first. So here we are taking all as tokens, example the reserved keywords, integer, double, boolean, etc. Apart from that the symbol, semicolon and other things. Once this tokenization is done, then we are passing it to the parsing phase. For that we have our folder named parser.y. Here we have mentioned our grammar, so I'll just give an overview of it. Initially we have mentioned all the nodes and tokens here, and then these we have mentioned over here the grammar. For example, program starts with functions, then start and statement list. Functions can be either functions and function, or it can be an empty. Function is function name and then statement lists. Function name can be data type func id params within closing brackets. So in this way we have written all the production rules. Apart from that, we have also created a tree for it. Here we can see the make symbol option. All these functions we have defined in the prototype part of definitions.h, and the same function we have also mentioned here in the lower section of the parser. For example, symbol star find method, add method, symbol star find variable, add variable, generate key, add method to table, all such methods. Once our AST is generated, then we will pass this AST into our semantic phase, where accordingly each AST is being mapped to output of MIPS code. So this is the structure of our semantics.c file. Let us go through the main process first of all. So in the main process, initially this is asking for 2 arguments, and then we are going for initializing the table and initializing the while stack. Once these are done, then we will start our YY parts, and then all the output will be written into compiler assembly code.asm, the compiler folder which is mentioned here in the assembly code.asm file. Next we have our enter init code. So this works as the initialization part. If we go over here, you can check that initially it loads the new line and text part of the data. Now again going back to the main. So next we have our generate code of AST root. So whatever AST root we have generated, that we can see from here, that AST root we will parse to generate code. This AST root we can get from here also, struct AST node*AST root, which is part of y.tab.c because it was present. So here we will generate AST root. Now let me show you the generate code of AST. So here we have 2 parameters, the node type and the level. So we have various switch case statements here, like depending on what is the node type, we are doing appropriate processes, and also based on what level we have been passing. Let us go to one of the sample processes, like for process assignment statement. So here you can see that our assignment statement as per the grammar, as we can show here. So we have our param assignment or arr and assignment. So the same level we are following here. We have a parameter and we have assignment. As each node can have various children, so we pass on to appropriate children, and recursively that will generate the code. And for the AST node itself, free register is a utility function that we have created, as we have a list of registers, 20 registers in our MIPS, and based on that we are getting whatever register is free at a given time. So here are our various switch cases. like based on LHS type and the RHS ASM class. So we have to also see what this type is. And based on that we are writing this part, which is getting printed into our assembly code file. Now let us show a sample example of how these all are working. Initially, let me clean it. So we have done a complete clean. Now let me do a make, and our executable has been named as my parser. Now I will run this my parser, and all our example test cases have been put into examples folder. Now we can let us see what is test1.dst. So as per our language, we have assigned integer a is 5, integer b is 6, integer c is a plus b. So this is what we will be getting. Now let me also show you the assembly code.asm, which is empty as of now. We split the screen. If I run it, then as you can see, assembly code has been generated for this. So we know that a is value 5, b is 6, and c is a plus b. So the value of c should have 5 plus 6, 11, which is eventually getting stored into register number 2. So let us check our register. For this we will be using our QtSpim. From here I will be reinitializing and loading. My path is set already to assembly code.asm. I'll load it. As it has been loaded, we can do a run analysis. So initially we have got our values. Next we are passing it. So first value I have loaded is 5 and stored it, as you can see. Next value again we have is 6, and then we are loading it, storing it back. Now we have integer c is a plus b, so I'm getting back the value of a and b, and then I'm adding it and storing it in register 2. So now if you can see here, register 2 has the value of 11. I'll be storing it back here again. As you can see, now it has been stored, and now we are completing our process. Yeah. Apart from that, we can also check another example, test2.txt. Before that, let's see what is test2.txt. Test2 we have like integer a is 6, b is 4, c is 5, and this sample code according to our language will help us print the largest among these three. So our expected output is 6, and for also extra information, show is our custom function which will help print out anything into the console of QtSpim, like we have printf and all. So let us run it. So this is the generated sample output. So let us load it again. Now as it has been loaded, let me run it directly. So as you can see, we have got a print of 6. Alright, now let us check another test case, test3.txt. So before moving again, we'll see what is test3. Here you can see is array integer 3, like as per our language we have declared an array a, and the contents of it are 1, 6 and 2. Similarly for b we have 5, 8 and 3. Our variable I is a counter and is initialized to 0, and our variable array c is declared and initialized with 0, 0, 0. Now we are looping for 3 times, and we are adding each respective values of a and b and storing it in the respective index of c, and we are also printing that same value in the console. So let us run it. Okay, as you can see, it has changed the assembly code. So now again reloading it back. So it has loaded, and now let's play it. As you can see here, we have 6, 14 and 5 as our output. So let us check it again. As you can see here, we have 1 plus 5 is equal to 6, 6 plus 8 is equal to 14, and 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. So this is also correct. Now moving on to test4.dst. So here test4.dst is a loop if condition where we have our normal integer n is 5, integer I is 1, integer sum is 0, and we are looping for I less than equal to n times. So from 1 to 5, and basically we are doing a sum of n into n plus, like the n consecutive numbers, and finally we will show that sum. So 1 to 5 we have our consecutive sum, so 5 into 6 by 2 is 15. Let us check it. So here I will be putting test4.tst. As you can see here, again we have our assembly code.asm generated, and also to show that this is a new generation, here you can observe that we have a loop if statement. So exactly we have a loop if 1, and also for and a end loop if 1, and for that we have a branching also. So it is like a looping condition where we are branching as well. So let us check its output. Again I will have to reinitialize and load file. Okay, and as you can see we have 15 here, so this is also correct. Now moving on to the final test case which we have for now. This is the bubble sort. So here you can see a very simple and basic implementation of bubble sort. We have our array of size 5 and each is an integer. So we have this array 52314. Now we have a counter set to initialize to 0. We will be looping, and within that loop we will put another counter j, and we will loop 2 times. As we know, in bubble sort we have a n square complexity. So this j is a counter which will be less than 5 minus I minus 1, as 5 is the size of the array. So this is the swapping condition. If we see some value greater than its previous value, than its successive value, then we will start the swapping. This function is for the swapping process. Here the incrementing happens for the counters, and finally we have another new counter, and we are looping around and printing the value of array which has been bubble sorted. So 52314 will be bubble sorted into 12345. Now let's first check its output. So same thing, test5.tst. So here you can see that many constructs have changed as a new file has been generated, assembly code. Now let's check what is its consecutive output. We have to reinitialize and load file. So once that has been reinitialized, I'll print it, and as you can see we have got it in the sorted manner 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that concludes our test cases. Apart from that, we also want to show that we have done all the things here in a modularized way. For example, if we want, we can change these things into x86 architecture as well, but we have opted for the MIPS assembly in our project, and there are many utility functions here. For example, initializing the symbol table, and also register, free register, similar things. For in parser.y, actually the symbols has been defined in the definitions.h, where you can see that our struct symbol, each symbol is a type, as has name, has func name, asm name, type, and all these various parameters. Apart from that, we also have a hash table, and we have the AST node, and then all the prototypes, function prototypes have also been mentioned here. So we have tried to follow all the standards of C, a project made in C. It can further be extended. For example, we can extend the grammar further, and we can change all the necessary things in the semantics.c file, for example, in the code generation part, as well as in the grammar which is mentioned in the parser part. Thank you.